welcome to Great Mind Tutorials. This is your favorite tutor, Khodiso. I'm back with another one, and in this episode, I'm gonna be doing a simple exercise, just a random exercise. I hope you guys are enjoying our random exercises. All right, but in this exercise, I'm just gonna create an exercise. Let's see what can we create. Okay, let's create something which is going to deal with your menu, controlling a menu, since we have done selection control structures. And yeah, that should be an iteration control structures. That is what you're going to need in order for you to create a menu. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a Java app. And this app, maybe, let me call it Khodiso Spaza. And that is my application. And what I'm going to do is that now I'm going to make use of a helper method. There's part of basic in programming language. No. Part of the object-oriented programming language in Java. I've done an example where I was explaining what a helper method is. And in this case, I'm going to use a helper method. How do we see that it's a helper method? Is because it's a private, and then we're going to have to make it static. Then I'm going to say menu, and I'm just gonna give it a body, but I forgot something. I forgot to specify the data type, private static. Let's make it an int. So now we're gonna have a menu. So in this case, I'm gonna stay int, and then I'm gonna say choice. I'm gonna give it that. Then I'm gonna give it a scanner for the input. Scanner sc is new scanner system.in. System.in. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is that now since I have that, then now I can start having a string. It's just develop the display. And double quotations, and then now I'm gonna say disp is assigned to disp.concat. This is something that I've been using ever since we started this channel, and if you're following the series, you would see that this is something that we are having. Okay, now so I'm gonna say please select from the menu below. I'm gonna go to a new line concat so that I can add something next to that string. And then the second string, excuse me over that. And then now, so I'm gonna say option number one is to add the numbers. And then go to a new line. Having a little bit of a flu, is that season. Excuse me about that. Okay, to multiply. Okay, to add, to get the product. Let's do that. Sounds more mathematical than the other one. Yeah, and then now let's come here and then option number 3 to subtract. Okay. And I'm just gonna leave it like that, semicolon. And then now, okay, I need to add in an import. So okay, now immediately after this, then I can just say system.out.println line. Then I'm going to, let me just add an extra line here where I'm going to say your choice. Say your choice. And then I'm gonna put in a colon. Then here I'm going to remove the ln. So here I'm going to write disp in here. That should be sufficient. It's just gonna write whatever that I've formatted, the string that I've formatted up here, which is gonna write please enter, select from the menu below. Oh, one other thing, I've almost made a mistake to leave out this. I must have an exit. So I'm gonna say 0 to exit. So to exit the menu, concat, let's go to a new line, /n, not /v. Then yeah, when we get here, then now I can say that the choice is then assigned to SC for the scanner, the next int, since we are taking in an integer. Then I'm gonna return, this is a value returning method, and then I'm going to return choice. And there we go. That should be returned to the main. Then now I go to the main. So in programming, there's what we call a block. A block is from the curly bracket to this curly bracket. That's a block, meaning that everything that happens outside here cannot be accessed inside this block. So everything is accessed within inside a block of code. So that is what we call a block of code. So I can still declare in here and initialize. So I can still declare an int choice here, still fine. So and then now, after when I've declared the choice, I can say get user choice. Then I can initialize choice to menu, which is the method. So it's gonna call that method. So now this is how you do it. Now you need a while loop at first. You need to say while choice is not equals to the one that you're gonna use to terminate, which is a 0. So I'm gonna say 0 here. And then you go inside. So inside the while loop, you're gonna decide whether to use an if statement or you're gonna use a case. So in this case, let's use a case. We're gonna say switch. What are we gonna choice? And then inside the switch statement, we're gonna have different cases. We're gonna see case when the option is equivalent to a 1, we'll want to add the numbers. And then we're gonna do that. Then immediately after this, you need to break. It's gonna break case 1. And then case number 2, when the user is selected a 2, we're gonna do whatever, come back and do it. And then we need to break. And we're gonna say case number 3, we're gonna do whatever that we are supposed to do here. Colon, semicolon, just to terminate. Now we're gonna get here and then we're gonna break. So after that, we must have a default, the one that will work whenever none of those holds. And then this is the default, we're gonna use it for invalid entry, meaning that whenever a user enters any number other than a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3. Then for the invalid entry, we're gonna give them a message. You're gonna say invalid input, please enter again. So, but every time you go out of a switch, I would want the user to re-enter again. I would want the menu to always pop up. So for the menu to always pop up, yeah, I'm going to repeat again. I'm gonna say choice, and then I'm gonna assign it to menu again. So meaning that even if the case is 1, it must always come out and have a choice again. Even when the case is 2, it must come out and prompt me for re-entry so that the app doesn't stop working. It is gonna continue on working, but I'll show you how it works with and without it. So this is for re-entry in this case. So now inside here, I would like that the user must get a choice, and then I'm gonna need another helper. I'm not gonna need another helper method because it needs to return 2 things. Okay, so now inside here, let's just do it for them separately. So now inside here, what I'm gonna do is that now I'm gonna say, okay, if the choice is 1, I'm gonna tell the user to enter. Okay, let me just get 1 input. Okay, so let me come here and say private static And then I'm gonna say this must be let me not make it to return. Why? Because I need two numbers in order to calculate the addition, the subtraction, and the multiplication. So I'm gonna do it up here. So here I'm gonna get prompt user input. I'm gonna prompt user input. So in here I'm gonna say system.out.println. Please enter the first number you want to work with. Okay. So it's gonna allow the user to enter the first number that they want to work with. So here I'm gonna have scanner, another scanner, input, it's fine, new scanner. Why am I doing another scanner? Because remember I spoke about the block of code. Inside the main, there's a block of code. Inside this block of code, there's no other scanner that has been declared. So here we're gonna say system.in input. And then yeah, what are we gonna do? Okay, yeah, we're gonna need two things. We're gonna need the first number, which is num1, and we're gonna need the second number, which we can declare it as num2. And okay, now we're gonna say num1 is then assigned to input scanner dot next int. There we go. That should be sufficient. Then I'm gonna just copy this and paste. It's good practice in order for you to save time. Please enter the second number. So I'm gonna put in the second number you want to work with. And yeah, I'm just gonna change it and say num2. There we go. And that should be sufficient. So now in here, I'm just gonna get here and so okay. Now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna then say, okay, let me just get in here and do simple stuff. System.out.println. Okay, now I'm gonna say the sum of the two. Then this should be num1 plus num2. That should give us the sum. Then we're gonna break that. And then remember for the second one is the product. So system.out.println. The product. This is supposed to be is. The sum of the two numbers is not a. Um, so yeah, ERS is. So I'm gonna say num1 multiplied by num2. That's how you do a multiply. So this the difference is, let's do that. Let's say num1 so your brackets are very important. If you don't want to use brackets, then it's fine. What we can do is that we can get a sum, get a difference, declare. So to avoid any issues, let's do this. Okay, let's get the last one. So that should be sufficient. So, okay, this should be able to work. Now, let's test it out. And then when you want to test it out, you'll see that whenever you're running this, you will see that we'll enter the two numbers that we want to work with, which is a 10 and a 5. So what do you want to do? Please select, do you want to add? Do you want to minus? Do you want to, or do you want to get a product? And then let's say option number 2, you want to get the product. So you can see the product of the two numbers is, so now this is just minus stuff. Let me stop this, and then I'm going to space so that it appears neatly. So here, I'm going to go to new line. It should be sufficient. And what is the other thing? Yeah, before I can display this, I'm gonna go to a new line, and I'm gonna go to a new line. So that should be fine. Let's try it now. 10, 5, yes, 2, and then as you can see, the product of the two numbers, and then now the menu is popping up again. This is what I was talking about. If I were to remove this here, this re-entry here, the menu was not going to be able to pop up. So I don't want the user to start afresh, start from scratch and rerun the program. The menu must always pop up. So that is how you control it inside the while loop. So I'm just going to explain that structure as soon as I'm done with this. Let's try something else. So the other choice that I would want to do, I would want to check the addition of the two numbers, which is 15. And I would also want to check the subtraction of the two numbers, which is a 5, which 10 times 5 is 50, 10 plus 5 is 15, it's correct, and a 10 minus 5 is a 5. And then now let's choose to exit the application. Then there we go, build success, meaning that it has successfully exited the application. So now, this is because now when you are inside the while loop, if I select the number, which is a 1, it'll go inside the while loop, come to this case, and do this. Then after going out, it'll pop up this, meaning that if I enter another number, it will change from a 1, it will update it now to whatever number that I want. Let's say in that case, I want the number 3, and then it's going to go back to the while loop, check, is 3 equals to 0? No, it's not equals to 0, it'll come to this case. And then as soon as I put in a 0 here, it's going to come and check, is 3 equals to 0? Yes, and then it means it's going to stop. Why? Because I told it should only work while it's not equals to. So let us try the last one, which is the invalid entry. I'm going to say a 10 again. I'm also going to say a 5. So let's say I went there, I added the number 100, which is not even part of the list of the menu. Then when I do that, it's going to say invalid entry, please enter again. And it's going to give them an opportunity until they get it right. So even if they say 11 again, it's still going to say invalid entry. But as soon as you put in something which is valid, which is a 0, then it's going to be able to exit. So that's how you simply create a simple menu. And this can be used for big programs. And this is just the basics. So that you need to understand that you're working with a while loop, and inside of it, you're controlling each and everything. So it's an iteration control structure with a selection control structure, which are used in order for you to create a menu. And that is it from me for this episode, your favorite tutor. Until we meet on the next one, please remember to watch, comment, like, share, and subscribe. And that is it from me from today. Cheers. I'm out.